Hey.
Oh, we are back. We are starting a cult with our typical every Friday episode.
It's Friday again, so here we are.
Oh, yes, and it is good to be back. It's that time of the week. Time to kick it up a notch for the weekend, you know?
No, it's true. Grant is ready. He just exuded a lot of poop.
That's true, I did. Yeah. I did.
He keeps talking about it.
Not that long ago. It's that time of the week, you know? It's not that time of the month. It's that time of the week.
Yeah.
But we are back with a brand new episode for you guys, just like we always are, and we hope you had a spectacular week.
Yeah. A lot of weird shit happening this week, though.
Yeah. Just in case the entire world hasn't told you, a big decision was made today, and I'm not going to say it because that's not what we're talking about today, okay?
Yeah. Just wear some condoms and, yeah.
Yeah, do your thing, but, that's fine. But, yeah, we're not going to talk about it. We don't do that.
No, we're talking about something else.
We're talking about people being murdered with a particular type of weapon that you probably are already aware of based on...
Yeah, it can sometimes be used as, like, an outdoor tool.
Yeah.
You know, for, like trimming and the like.
Trimming? I don't know.
Trimming.
What's more chopping than
Trim
anything.
the timber, you know?
But yeah, as you could probably tell, I mean, I don't know what this episode's going to be called yet, but I'm assuming the word axe murders will be in the title.
It should be called Trimming the Timber. It kind of sounds like you're touching up your pubes.
That is true. This is a great opportunity to plug the movie So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Never seen it.
Oh, it is so fucking good. It's a great movie. It's essentially about Mike Myers meeting the love of his life, and he believes her to be an axe murderer, and hilarity ensues. It's just an all-around good time.
That sounds like a rousing, fun romp.
But today we got a couple of stories for you. Some short, I assume some a little bit longer.
I have one longer and one short.
Beautiful. I have one that's, I wouldn't even call it like long. I got one that's like medium, and then I got one that I don't even know where it's ridiculously maybe short, maybe not. I don't know.
All right.
But needless to say, we'll be talking about death by bludgeoning with an axe or a pick or something along those lines, okay?
Yeah, we're trying to look for like a topic this week, and I was just like, oh, let's look up some axe murders. Maybe there's a good one in there. There's so fucking many of them.
Yeah.
People love doing this, it seems.
I was kind of sifting through a lot because some of them were interesting, but it was like a one-off thing, or it was like an ex-lover or an ex-employee. And it was like, I mean, yeah, that qualifies, but it's not. It's something that can be talked about in like less than 40 seconds.
Yeah, more like an axe lover.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. But obviously, I'd like to start by telling you the horrifically true story of the axe murders by a man named Jack. All right,
Jack, huh?
Yeah. So this. Pretty much what happened was, he was an author, he was alcoholic, he had some issues. Anyways, they're watching over this building. I think it's a hotel. And the guy goes fucking crazy and starts trying to kill his family with an axe.
Oh, what's the setting? Is it snowy?
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
And believe it or not, this is not a true story. I just, I figured what other opportunity are we going to have to pepper that one in there,
Yeah, it needs the pepper.
But yeah, we got some good stories. I don't know. I mean, do you want to go first? You want me to go first? How do you want this to play out?
All right, so if I go first, I'm going to start with the longer one.
That's
the shorter one, put me in a weird mood yesterday.
Absolutely fine.
I needed to watch YouTube to feel normal.
You know what? That's I say let's do it. Let's
Sometimes
jump
that's
right in.
just life. All right, so the Servant Girl Annihilator.
Okay.
Quite the title. So the Servant Girl Annihilator, also known as the Austin Axe Murderer and the Midnight Assassin, was an American serial killer in the late 19th century and is credited with 8 separate murders and remains to this day to be unidentified.
Oh.
Never caught the boy. All right. First of all, fun fact, the name was originated by the writer O. Henry. You know O. Henry.
The candy bar?
Yeah. No, it's a pen name.
Oh, O. Henry.
William Sidney Porter. O. Henry.
Observant Henry.
he was really just talking shit about the city in a letter to a friend. He's like, this place sucks except for some, activity by the fucking servant girl Annihilator. We'll get to that later. But less fun of a fact, between 1884 and 85, 8 young women were brutally murdered using an axe by this unknown assailant. Now this guy, or lady, I suppose, because we don't know, right, is considered by many to be the first American serial killer. Or at least the first one to be, documented.
Okay.
And some even think that this individual may have actually been an infamous and unknown killer that just so happened to appear across the world not months after Austin's tragedies came to a stop. All right? We'll get to that later. So, in the 1880s, Austin, Texas was booming, all right? In the standards of the time, at least. So in 20 years, between 1860 and 1880, the population nearly tripled from roughly 3,000 to 11,000, which sounds like fucking peanuts now.
Yeah, it does.
Because that's like the population of a Walmart at any given time. But, so a college was built, an asylum with some surprisingly caring and mindful methods of care was constructed. A luxury hotel was there for tourism, and indoor plumbing was in each room. That was a huge thing,
Okay.
Indoor plumbing, you can poop anywhere. And the natural beauty of the area was just renowned.
Well, renowned, you say.
Everyone loved it there. Want to take a picture, want to paint it. Beautiful, I assume. It was declared Texas's capital, and the Capitol building was constructed and later found to be the 7th largest building in the world at the time.
Damn, that's impressive.
Right? Yeah, needless to say, Austin, it was a hip and up-and-coming place to be. That is until, on the night of December 30th, 1884, a man named Tom Chalmers was woken up by a clamor at his door, calling for help.
Super Nintendo Chalmers.
You hate the little clamors. Super Nintendo Chalmers?
Yeah.
Wait, is that...
That was Ralph, remember?
Oh my god, fuck.
Super
I was going to say...
Nintendo Chalmers.
Fucking Ralph. All right. Yeah. So Tom answered this clamor at the door to find Walter Spencer, who was the boyfriend of a servant girl, Molly Smith, who was employed at the home, right? So his servant's boyfriend is just at the door.
Yeah.
He was covered in blood.
Oh, okay.
All right, he's covered in blood.
Average evening.
Super normal thing in the night. All right, so Walter said that he had been attacked in the servants' quarters in the backyard and was begging for help, right? Tom suspected that Walter was exaggerating or drunk, which is not the initial thing that I would probably think if he was actually covered in blood. But in any case, so he simply told him to go to a doctor and get treated for his injury. And Walter, being a black man in the late 19th century South, knew better than to argue with a white boy.
Right, yeah, fair enough.
So he did what he was told. When he returned home in the morning, though, Molly Smith's body was discovered in the back alley.
Oh.
All right. Molly's room was found to be absolutely destroyed, and a bloody axe was in the corner, and a bloody handprint was found on the wall by the door.
Okay.
So pretty obvious what happened here. Interesting that they'd leave the murder weapon. But I guess they didn't really have,
I mean, yeah,
fingerprints
at that
and
point
shit.
it was like, fuck it, who cares,
No one gives a
no one's going to
shit.
find this.
It's like, I'm going to show him what I've done. Yeah, he got treated for his injuries. They found Molly. Oh, she's dead. Yeah, this murder was uncharacteristic to Austin in that there seemed to be no motive, no reason, and the outright gruesome and gory wounds were just shocking to authorities. They were just like, this doesn't happen here. What the fuck is going on? An ex-boyfriend of Molly was brought in for questioning, but he was quickly released with an airtight alibi. So who did it? Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't have an answer for this.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this, but I don't really have a response.
You don't have an answer for this thing across the country hundreds of years ago?
That no one else has an answer for either. No, I can't believe I'm stumped by this.
You're a fucking failure. So needless to say, servants around Austin were extra careful for a time following this crazy murder. All right, many were like sleeping in their employers' homes or like the homes of friends. But ultimately, things just like calmed down. People went about their lives, how people always do after shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But then, shortly after things seemed to die down, the night became an extraordinarily threatening time in the Austin streets. All right, and seemingly only for young women employed as servants.
Ooh.
It was very strange. All right.
It's a little strange.
It's a little weird. A rash of strange and frightening things were happening each night. Rocks were being thrown at servants' windows. Sometimes gunfire came through the fucking walls.
Yeah, you know.
It's never good. Servants were being woken up in the middle of the night to their doorknobs jiggling. You know, jiggling aggressively, trying to be opened by someone.
Jiggle.
Doesn't fold. And some were even being held up for their money, saying it's your money or your life, you know. They were held up from behind, apparently, and assaulted with sharp tools.
Assaulted with sharp tools?
Assaulted with sharp tools.
All right, okay.
So that is a little caveat to this story, because some of them were with axes, but a lot of them were with, like, sharpened, I don't know, instruments that he would insert into people's ears and shit. He was a gruesome boy.
Okay.
Whoever this was. Though this is insanely frightening, no one was getting seriously injured until March 19th of 1885, when two Swedish servant girls, Clara Strand and Christine Martinson, they were very brutally injured. Right?
Oh.
They were physically attacked and beaten by a single assailant who, after leaving their quarters, shot through their wall and hit one of the girls in the spine.
Oh, okay.
So she's not living well. But they are living, so that's something, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a win, I would call it.
It's always nice to live. So this caused many servant girls to seek employment elsewhere in the country, and caused some racial tension to skyrocket, even more than it probably was at the time.
Okay.
So the black community was positive that it was a white man mainly targeting black women. And white folks were convinced that it was a black man and called for the lynching upon his identity being discovered.
All right, okay.
They loved lynching back then.
Yeah, they did. They really
liked to do that.
They had a type, too, you know?
Yeah, no, if you painted like an abstract picture of it, it would always look the same.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. You know, like, the new thing is, like, the AI amalgamations, you know?
Yeah.
You, like, input a bunch of shit, and, like, the AI makes it, and it's, like, kind of similar to what you think. If you put, like, the targets of lynching in an AI, it would literally look exactly how you think it would.
It would just be a stick figure on a piece of white paper.
Yeah, exactly what you think it would look like. Again, they had a very strict type, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, all the white folks were like, we got to lynch this person, but we got to find who it is first. Anyway, it was pandemonium, all right? A woman named Eliza Shelley, she was the next victim on May 6th of 1885, and she was found hacked to death next to the bed that she shared with her two children.
Good Lord.
All right? The children were fine, but her son, like, reportedly, he told police that he woke up he was woken up by a black man that told him to go back to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
Sure, I believe it.
And others who supposedly witnessed, like, either the crime or the perpetrator fleeing the scene, asserted that he was white. So no help there at all.
Yeah, they feel like, well, we're probably going to go with what that kid said, you know?
Yeah. Oh, God. So the next victim was revealed later that month on May 22nd, all right? So it was just a mere, 2 weeks after this last one, of 1885, of course. Irene Cross, she was a black cook, and she was attacked by a man with a knife and found alive in her backyard by authorities.
Damn.
All right, so she was, out there bleeding and dying for, hours.
Okay.
Until they found her. When asked who had done it to her, she simply could not respond due to her wounds, which were in her chest and torso. So I assume her lungs were deflating or something.
I think that's a fair assumption.
I don't know. But yeah, she died shortly thereafter. The Austin police were at a loss, these strange and gruesome murders, you know. And so they brought in some detectives from outside sources, right? So some from a detective agency in Houston and some from Chicago. But neither detective agencies were able to make any headway whatsoever.
Oh.
So they're just wasting money. What else happened? They arrested and questioned over 400 men, mostly black, and interrogated them all, but none could be proven to be the perpetrator. So
Okay.
I do give, like, the very far in the past South some credit for not, like, just convicting just some random black dude.
Yeah, that's a
know?
bonus. I'll give him that. That's
So,
wild.
I mean, they're racist. They're not, like, shy about it, but at least they were actually trying to find some dude.
Yeah,
like,
there's
the actual right person.
there was what you would call a fair trial, which is something that did not really happen back then.
The exact opposite of a lynching. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So things really got bad in August and September, all right? An 11-year-old girl named Mary Ramey, I believe it's Ramey, was murdered on August 30th after her mother fought to protect her, receiving life-threatening injuries along the way. So he's killing kids now. That's not good. Let's see what else. Then on September 28th, about a month later, servant Gracie Vance and her boyfriend Orange Washington.
Orange.
It's not funny because they're dead. Orange Washington. They were found murdered in their homes with an axe, Austin was freaking out, right? Window locks were flying off the shelves. There were some soothing tonics that people were selling to, like, hysterical female family members, and they were just buying them all. They were taking all these soothing tonics. Then, seemingly as just like one last hurrah, the killer struck again on the night of Christmas Eve, December 24th of 1885, this time murdering 2 separate women in 2 separate locations. He's trying to pull the fucking roof man.
He's trying.
He's
really
trying to pull the roof man. 2 hits in one day. Come on. Susan Hancock and Eula Phillips. All right. They were found brutally murdered in their homes. And you know what? The murders just fucking stopped.
Okay.
They just stopped after that. They just went away. So here's where the story gets a little bit crazy historically. In 1888, a certain infamous killer started making headlines in the papers of London, England. Jack the Ripper, all right?
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. Austin newspapers, they kind of glommed onto those headlines, starting to draw parallels from the crimes of England that began, 2 short years after theirs had ceased, leading many to believe that the crimes actually were committed by the same man. So a lot of people just bought into it.
Okay.
They were just like, "Oh my God, Jack the Ripper! That's who it was."
This
the
is
servant
the
girl guy.
This is the fucking guy.
Yeah, I mean that's all that kind of came of it was just some people believing it, but there was no like substantial evidence to link it.
Okay.
It was just a classic, like, oh, it's in the newspaper. It's got to be true.
Yeah, it's around. Someone knows it's real. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah. All right. Well. I mean, that lives up to the name of the servant girl Annihilator.
Yeah, it really does. He's very in all the sharp tools and stuff. But there is a little bit. There's like some people speculate on who it may have been, aside from Jack the Ripper, right? Some historians are led to believe that the murderer was. It could very well have been the son-in-law of the man who ran the Austin Insane Asylum or Lunatic Asylum. I think they used.
Yeah, that's
the
probably
phrase.
what they called it.
Dr. James Gibbon, his son-in-law. They were just like, maybe it was him. It is noted that the murders seemed to stop almost immediately after the son-in-law was unwillingly committed to his father-in-law's asylum.
Okay.
So that's interesting. It's also thought that it may have been a Malaysian cook who kind of worked in close proximity to a lot of the crimes, who was noted in advertising his relocation to London, who then reportedly went through with it.
Damn.
So he just went to London. Maybe it is. Maybe he's Jack.
Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Maybe
who
he
knows,
isn't.
man?
We don't know.
But in the end, who the fuck knows who this guy was? All we know is that he was prolific and he remains a mystery.
Well, shit. I mean,
Servant girl Annihilator there.
Another axe murder that we've covered with no answers. No one knows.
A lot A lot of up in the air going on.
a lot
here,
of unsolved axe murders.
No one knows. It seems if you want to kill someone, you should probably use an axe.
I mean, it seems that their numbers are, unless you like turn yourself in or get busted Lizzie Borden style, you could get away with it a lot easier than you think, I guess.
And even they couldn't even prove that it was Lizzie Borden. It was just kind of character assassination by the public at the end.
Yeah, it was like, well, you were here and you were alive, so you're the guy or
you're the lady named Liz.
But yeah, that's damn.
Servant girl Annihilator. They're dead. The
Good
servant
Lord.
girls, that is.
That was quite interesting. I have to say.
Yeah, it was a little ride. Get a little connection to Jack, the ripster over there.
A little bit.
Little Jack and Jill.
So I will do my short one, so we kind of like bounce off, so it's like
yeah. And then
long,
I'll do my short one.
long,
Yeah, no, it's good.
So this one has a little bit more of a resolution, but it's a nice short little quick bite. And it was wild to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it.
Okay.
So I hope you guys are ready. We're traveling back in time again. This story takes place in 1828.
Wow.
Just a little bit of background. This takes place on a boat, okay?
Okay. Almost 200 years ago.
Yeah, so built in 1817, the Mary Russell was a small wooden brig of 132 tons, drawing 13 feet under load, single-decked with beams. I don't know what the fuck that means.
It doesn't sound small. But
So essentially, but when all was said and done, it was about 80 feet in length, is what we're getting at here. Right. It was made entirely of wood. At the time, a relatively operatable boat, if that's a word. It wasn't like this huge, massive ship. It was just a big boat,
Intuitive to sail.
Yeah. So, let's get into this a little bit. So, the ship's captain was William Stewart. He was a Protestant man that was born in Cobb in 1775.
Cobb.
His chief mate was a Scotsman named Will Smith, or William Smith.
He's slapping Christopher Rockefeller.
And the second mate was a Swede named William Swanson. So we got Will Smith and Will Swanson.
All right, good. And he's Swedish? This is my story.
Heck yeah. So we got a couple other people on board. So we got the carpenter, John Kramer. The seaman, John Howes, the Francis Sullivan and John Keating, they were also seamen.
Seamen.
Then you have the three apprentices. You have John Deeves, Daniel Scully, and Henry Rickards, who were 15, 13, and 12, respectively.
Okay, already in this story, there are so many names that either are just famous people or are remarkably close.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's Scully. We got some fucking...
We got Kramer.
Yeah, we got Kramer. Wait, what was the last one you said?
Henry Rickards.
It just sounds like Henry Winkler. Like,
okay, yeah.
There's so many just, like, lights shining in my fucking mind right now as you're reading. But keep going, yeah.
Okay, so in total, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we got Timothy Connell and James Morley. Now, what their job was, they were stablemen, because this boat was sailing to Barbados, and they were bringing some mules, okay? That's what they were doing.
Okay.
So they were there to watch after the mules. Okay, so now we're up to, what, 9 total? Is that what it... Wait, let me recount.
That's like 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5...
You said 8 to
6,
2.
7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10, 11.
11?
Wait, hold on. Fuck.
It's 8 plus 2, motherfucker. You're just like, all right, there's 8 of them. And then there's these 2 guys.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Why
6,
are you counting again?
7, 8, 9. No, it's 11. We got...
I don't even understand.
We got William, John, Francis, John, Daniel, Henry, Timmy, and James.
See, the Johns is where we got fucked up.
Yeah, that was what was throwing me.
God damn it.
So there was also a passenger on the boat, an 11-year-old boy named Thomas Hammond. Now, there was one final guy on the ship, and this was Captain James Gold Rains. He was a man that lived in Cork, and he had sailed to Barbados on board the Hibernia. But he was actually relieved of his command for being too wasted. So he persuaded the captain, he got his way, and he was like, William Stewart, come on, bro, let me in, come on. And they're like, fine, you can hop on the boat. Like, you're not the captain, but you can hop on the boat.
I swear I'm sober.
Okay, so they're on their way, right? They're out to sea. They're doing their shit. There's 13 of them. They're all fucking hanging out. And Captain Stewart is leading the fucking trend. One night at sea, Captain Stewart has a really strange dream, okay?
Okay. Dream realm.
He has a really wicked dream that Captain Rains, the drunk guy, is going to lead a mutiny. All right?
Okay.
He doesn't like that. He's having trouble sleeping. He can't get over it. He hates that news.
Dude, you ever wake up one morning, it's just a normal morning, you're like, hello, good morning, my significant other, and they're just mad at you because of what you did to them in their dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was not helped because Captain Rains spoke Irish, and Captain Stewart did not.
Is that Gaelic?
Yeah, well, yeah. Gaelic, Irish, so whatever.
I don't know.
They don't specify.
I have no idea. I'm Irish. I don't even know.
If I don't know the Irish vernacular.
You just got a like one of those.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
rolling the tongue.
Guinness.
Yeah,
Leprechaun.
Guinness, wool, sweaters, golf,
Green.
golf courses.
Anyways, so
Boiled
Rains would
meats.
speak to the crew in Irish. This did not help anything. Okay, this did not help the situation at all. So how did Captain Stewart respond? Well,
sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to answer.
No, you're good. It was more of like a rhetorical thing.
Was it in like offensive impressions of Gaelic?
No, in extremely aggressive fashion. He bound 7 of the 12 other men on the boat. He bound them, tied them to the floor. They were trapped. They weren't moving. They were in a line. And systematically, he walked up to them, hit each one of them in the head with a crowbar, and then immediately started hitting them with axes and killed 7 of them.
This was a dream he had.
No, this is real life.
No,
now.
yeah, but this is because of a dream he had.
Yeah.
Of something that hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
Okay.
So it gets a little muddy. There's a book on this actually from 2010. I didn't read it, but it doesn't really give us the people that were killed. It just says that 7 out of the 12 were killed. You can imagine that Captain Rains was at least one of the 7.
Yeah, what a terrible morning.
But there really are no specifics, at least to me. I would probably imagine that if I had to pick, I would say the passenger, the 11-year-old, probably survived.
Probably the 2 dudes taking care of the mules, or at least one of the dudes taking care of the mules.
One of the mule dudes, and then probably the apprentices, or at least 2 of them.
Yeah, if he has the audacity to fucking kill all these people, he probably thinks he's above cleaning up mule shit.
Yeah. So I agree with that. So on Sunday, August 11th of 1828, Captain Stewart was tried for the murder of Captain James Gold Rains. All right?
Gold Rains.
However, very unusually, the prosecution and the defense were both seeking the same verdict.
What?
Not guilty by reason of insanity.
Did they at least manage that?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
If they both wanted it and nothing happened, I'd be like, oh, God.
Yeah,
Just
so
another example of the justice system.
I mean, that's pretty much where the story ends.
He was insane.
The prosecution and the defense got exactly what they wanted.
I mean, it is a pretty insane thing to do. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've fantasized about things like that, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Especially because of a dream.
But yeah, so that is how Captain Stewart was found not guilty of murdering 7 men.
Wow.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't know why I feel like saying it's a feel-good story.
In a way, it is.
I almost just dropped my laptop.
It's not. I mean, it's not. Like, he murdered 7 people, but he got away with it.
Yeah, no, good for him.
And he didn't get away with it in the fact of they didn't find him. He literally got caught, and they were just like, he's not guilty. He's fucked up. And they were like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the prosecution's like, he's insane. The defense is like, yeah.
I would imagine, I was not able to find this answer, I would imagine he was brought to some type of sanitarium or sanatorium or whatever.
He went to the Austin Lunatic Asylum.
Probably. I would imagine, unless he was just
Crossover.
turned loose on society, and that was just the end of that. But yeah, that's the story of that.
That's fun.
How about that?
Wow. All right. I feel so giggly after that story for some reason. Just like everyone agrees he's insane, and that's where the story ends.
Yeah, it's like, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, Your Honor, objection.
Like, oh,
this
you're
guy's
absolutely
fucking
right.
Crazy. Like, all right, he's crazy.
You're all fucking crazy.
This whole court is out of line. All right, he's fine. He's free to go.
All right, you ready for a very depressing one?
Yeah, I am.
All right, it happened in Australia. All right, the Greenaw, I believe, Greenaw.
Oh,
It's just green with dough without the D. You know, Greeno maybe Greenaw. I'm gonna say Greenaw family massacre. All right, the Greenaw family massacre is thought to, by some at least, to be one of the worst crimes ever committed in Western Australia.
oh God.
Okay, so some of the details of the crime were deemed so gruesome by the judge that they remain to this day to be hidden from public eyes.
Damn.
Like,
okay.
still people don't know. Those hidden details are pretty heavily alluded to, like what they are, in the rundown of the crime. Anyway, so on February 21st of 1993, a recent one, all right, mother Karen Mckenzie, she was 31, and her three kids, Daniel, who was 16, Amara, who was 7, and Katrina, who was 5. They were home having a perfectly pleasant evening on their remote property in Greenaw, Western Australia. All in the house, but Daniel had fallen asleep. Right, they were just slowly dozing. All right, but not Daniel. He's awake. This is when acquaintance through one connection or another to Karen, Patrick Bill Mitchell. He arrived at the property in his car.
Okay.
Mitchell had spent the entire day getting high and drunk on a mixture of alcohol, marijuana, and amphetamines.
Good for him.
So that's just the trifecta there. So he pulled up to the house, and Mckenzie, the home of Mckenzie and her children. And since it was a remote location, Daniel goes out to investigate who it is because he's like, there's no cars that come out here for no reason. You know, he's like, I hear a car, I'm going to go see. Daniel confronts the highly intoxicated Mitchell and is murdered by Mitchell with an axe.
Good Lord.
All right, just outside of his house. Mitchell then made his way into the home, where he found Karen asleep in the lounging room. He brutally murdered her with an axe, and then proceeded to rape and brutalize her dead body.
Okay.
Here's where some of the details are left out, but it's pretty obvious what happened. After raping their mother's mutilated corpse, Mitchell then turned his attention to the sleeping 5- and 7-year-old Katrina and Amara.
Oh,
I
man.
think we can all reluctantly fill in the blanks there.
Yeah, oh, man.
So, it took about 5 weeks after the discovery of the horrendous scene and funerals for the 4 individuals for Mitchell to be arrested for his heinous crimes. Police said that it was a hand lotion's residue found in the scene, let's just say in many locations of the scene, that finally led to his arrest. Mitchell pled guilty to 4 counts of willful murder, and here's another thing where things kind of come through without the details. 4 counts of sexual assault, and he killed 4 individuals.
Damn.
So, and come on.
Yeah, this guy's all over the fucking map.
Yeah. At the age of 24, Mitchell was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences with a 20-year period without chance for parole. He currently sits at the Bunbury Regional Prison. An appeal ordered the non-parole period to be revoked, but following appeals ruled that he would never be released. It was declared in 2019 that he would never be released. So it's like, with all this back and forth, it's kind of hard to say what the future holds for this fuck, but, you know, if hell exists, he'll probably go there. Right?
Well, I would imagine he's going there. Like,
I kind of hope hell exists, strictly so this guy gets to go there.
There's no reason that he shouldn't be in there,
He's creating hell on Earth. Why shouldn't he live there?
Agreed.
You know?
Agreed.
But anyway, yeah, that got me feeling all weird last night.
I mean, I see why. I see why.
It's like, holy fucking shit.
I absolutely understand.
You just showed up. You just showed up and did that.
Just for the fucking hell of it, I guess. Like, why not? He's like, fuck it, let's just go.
I was watching a little newsreel on it, and like the family afterward, and they're like, every 3 years we have to go to these fucking like parole hearings and like convince them to keep him in there. It's fucked. And they're all very, very sad.
I mean,
very sad individuals.
I would 100% imagine that that's just fucking like the worst day of your year.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, of your life, maybe.
Like, that is...
Maybe the decade.
Good Lord. Yeah, that's... I don't even... That's like the description of that one. It's just... There's a little...
I keep wanting to do the Sideshow Bob thing.
Well, I'll pepper in... I mean, it's not a happy story by any means.
A lot of things are happier than what I just said.
This one is nowhere near...
Even if they do involve an axe.
This one is sad, but maybe... I mean... I guess objectively, it's going to be it's an easier pill to swallow than the fucking one we just heard. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, so we are going to go back in time to March of 1922.
All right, sick. Nice.
100 years ago. A little bit, about 100 years and 3 months ago. Strange things began to occur in and around the town of Hinterkaifeck. Okay?
Where's that?
Hinterkaifeck. That is, it's a Bavarian farmstead north of Munich, Germany.
The Bavarian, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a...
Yeah, it's Bavarian.
When I say Hinterkaifeck, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. That is like the name of the farm. Okay.
Okay, so the old stead there.
Yeah, the old farmstead.
Yeah.
So shit started to get weird. So this was in the winter of 1921, okay? The family maid had actually quit leading up to this, so earlier. And the reason why she quit is because she was hearing really strange noises in the attic and thought that the house was haunted, okay?
Reasonable, yeah.
And Andreas Gruber, member of the house, it was the Gruber family in the home.
Yeah.
Found a strange newspaper from Munich on the property in 1922. Sorry. And what's weird for that is this is 43 miles north of Munich. Okay, so it's not like you're on their paper route.
Yeah, you're not in their news cycle.
No, you're definitely not. He could not remember buying it, and he initially believed that maybe the postman had, swapped out something or did something wrong.
So it was like in their house, or
it was just on their like front porch.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's like in the trees on their property or something. It's like wind's crazy.
So he talked to the postman, and the postman was like, "No, we don't really deliver those." He was talking to the locals in the area, and none of them had subscribed to that particular paper.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Well,
This is fucking weird. Okay.
Multiple days. We're talking middle of March, 1922. I keep saying 2022.
Yeah.
Middle of March. So a couple of days before the incident,
he was telling his neighbors that he had discovered fresh footprints in the snow. And they went from the forest to a broken door lock in the farm's machine room. And they were fresh prints. Fresh.
Still steaming.
Later during that same night, they had heard footsteps in the attic. Gruber went up there and he found nothing. He didn't see anything out of place. He was like, whatever, okay. So he told a bunch of people about this, and they were all offering to help him, like, we'll come over. You got a lot of land, like, we'll kind of walk around. We'll see what we can find.
We'll comb it, find an elusive squatter.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. He was like, no, don't help me. He didn't report it to the police. Whatever.
What the fuck was that?
Now we move in to the night of March 31st of 1922.
Okay.
It was a Friday, just like today.
Oh my God.
The new maid, they hired a new maid. Her name is Maria Baumgartner. She got to the farm, right?
Yeah.
Maria's sister had brought her there and left the farm after, staying for a couple minutes, maybe had a cup of tea or something. I don't know.
Simply a ride.
Yeah. She was the last person to see the inhabitants alive, besides the culprit. Okay?
All of them?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Yep. It appears that late in that evening, Victoria Gabriel and her 7-year-old daughter, Kazia, and her parents, Andreas and Kazia, it's confusing. They got different names.
A lot of names.
So they were lured to the family barn through the stables, okay? They were murdered, one at a time. The perpetrator used an axe that belonged to the family and was on the farm, and he killed each individual member of the family and the maid with blows to the head. The perpetrator then moved into the house, where with the same murder weapon, he killed Joseph, who was sleeping in the bassinet, the child.
Yeah.
And the maid in her bedroom. All of them got things in the fucking head.
Things.
Thanks.
So when you said lured into the barn, I was just picturing like a fishing line with a bag of like sauerkraut or something.
Come on.
Because they're German.
Come on.
But hey, that's why I laughed there. But no, that is horrifying.
You know you want it.
Yeah.
You know you want it. Anyway, so 4 days passed between the murders and the discovery of the bodies, okay?
Gross. Probably smells bad.
Yeah. Going back a little bit, the day after, on April 1st, local coffee salesman Hans Scharovsky and Edward Scharovsky arrived at Hinterkaifeck to take an order. When no one responded to the knocks on the door and the window, they walked around the yard, but they didn't find anything or anybody. They were like, okay.
You're some insistent coffee salesman.
They noticed that the gate to the machine house was open, and they were like, okay, we're just going to go. Kazia Gabriel was absent without excuse for the next few days at school, and the family failed to show up for the Sunday worship.
Interesting. So, all right. So I was picturing them in like the middle of fucking nowhere, not like in a community.
It's a small community, but it's a community nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like, people know they're there,
But still, I was like, oh, farming children back then, of course they're going to homeschool, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. No,
all
I
right.
get you.
This is painting a more detailed picture.
So the the local assembler, Albert Hoffner, went to the farmstead on April 4th to repair the engine of the food chopper. He stated that he had not seen any of the family, and he didn't hear any sounds or anything like that inside the barn. After waiting for an hour, he was like, fuck it, I'm here, I'm going to do my job. So he does his repairs, and he was there for about 4 to 4.5 hours, okay?
Damn.
Around 3:30 p.m., Lorenz Schlittenbauer sent his son, Johann, and stepson, Josef, to the farm to see if they could make contact with the family. But they reported that they didn't see anything and no one was there. Schlittenbauer headed to the farm to kind of get down to it with local neighbors Michael Pohl and Jakub Siegel.
This is the most European story I've ever heard. So many people are coming by to visit and just not investigating.
Yeah, so they entered the barn and they found everything.
Yeah.
They found it all, okay?
They're dead.
So, Inspector George Reingruber and the department investigated the killings.
Okay.
Initial investigations were hampered because the number of people that were around kind of fucked with the scene,
Hampered?
It fucked it up. It slowed it down. Hampered,
I've never heard that term. I've heard tampered.
Really?
But
That's
hampered,
same
I was
thing.
just thinking of like laundry.
So it's said that people moved the bodies into a more like respectful position, which is, obviously is going to fuck up the investigation.
Yeah, it's not respectful to the investigation.
So the day after the discovery of the corpses, court physician Johann Baptist Aumüller performed the autopsies in the barn. He figured out that an axe was the most likely murder weapon, though they didn't actually see anything. Evidence showed that the youngest daughter, Kazia, or the younger, I should say.
Yeah.
The younger daughter, Kazia, had been alive for several hours after the assault.
Oh.
She had torn her hair out in tufts while laying there in the straw. The skulls of the victims were removed and sent to Munich, where they were examined further. Initially, they thought this was like robbery. That was the motive.
Yeah.
But they interrogated like local traveling craftsmen, vagrants, and just people around the village. They found like a crazy amount of money in the house. They didn't say how much it was, but enough to where they were like,
they did not get robbed.
yeah, they're like, this wasn't a robbery gig, So what they did find is that somebody had actually fed the cattle, they had eaten the entire supply of bread, and they took meat out of the pantry.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta refuel after murdering an entire family with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the files were officially closed in 1955. However, the last interrogation about this case took place in 1986.
What the fuck?
And this was before a fucking name that I don't even know how to pronounce.
Wait, dude, try it.
Criminal Hauptkommissar Konrad Mueller, retired.
Wait, so that was the name of a person?
Yeah. Criminal Hauptkommissar Konrad Mueller.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We'll just keep going after that.
Yeah.
But 86, like the person they would have to interview would probably be like fucking on death's door. Like they would be like in their 80s if they committed this crime in their 20s.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like that's too long.
So there's a couple things that are interesting about this. I mean, there's a list of like suspects. I'm not really going to go into that just because nobody knows, and it doesn't really serve the purpose of the story.
Yeah, justice wasn't served. It's just people saying like, well, maybe it was him.
No, but there are a couple of interesting things here. So on the night after the crime, and this was 3 days before it was discovered,
Okay.
the local artisan, Michael Plockel, happened to pass by the farm.
Plockle.
He observed that the oven had been heated by somebody, and somebody had actually approached him with a lantern and like shoved it in his face to the point where he couldn't adjust to the light and was like blinded for a minute.
Did he like talk to him?
No, and when he came to, the man was gone and he'd run off into the woods.
Oh, so he like knocked him out with his lantern.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
So Plockel also noticed that there was smoke coming from the fireplace and it smelled very disturbing.
Disturbing.
Yeah, just disturbing, just gross.
Like, was he burning the old baby there?
We think possibly, we don't know.
Oh my god.
So on April 1st, that same night, later in that evening, the local farmer and the butcher, Simon Rieblander, I don't know how to pronounce these. Some of these names are wild. So he saw two unknown people sitting at the edge of the forest. When these unidentified strangers saw him, they turned their backs to him so that they couldn't, visuals on the face could not be seen.
We can't see him. He can't see us.
So, like, obviously, once he found out about what had happened at the farm, he immediately thought that possibly these two had some sort of connection to it.
That makes sense.
But nothing obviously ever came of that either.
I thought you were going to do like the Skinwalker Ranch thing. It's like when they got closer, it was two coyotes smoking cigarettes up,
like,
standing
what?
up.
In the middle of May 1927, a stranger was said to have stopped a resident at Weidhofen at midnight. Okay, that was a town.
Okay.
He was asking him some questions about the murder, and then he immediately shouted, "I was the murderer!" And he ran into the woods, and no one ever saw that guy again. No one ever saw that guy again.
What?
Yeah, so that's the story of...
Maybe that was the guy.
That's the story of the Gruber family murder in Hinterkaifeck.
That was the last part of the story.
Yep, that was it. That was about it.
Yeah, man came out of the woods, said, "I did it," and then he ran away.
Yeah, it was really just that easy. Like, he just said what he had
Yeah.
to say, and he fucking split.
He's
dude.
like,
Like,
you know what? I told the truth. I'm
Yeah.
getting into heaven.
He did. He just completely bailed. But that
Wow.
was the axe murder.
All right. What was it? The ex-murder of
Hinterkaifeck.
Hinterkaifeck.
I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I'm just phonetically sounding that one
I
out.
don't know. I just said it like a Ukrainian. I don't know.
Hinterkaifeck.
Hinterkaifeck.
But yeah, that was the Gruber family murder at the Hinterkaifeck farm.
God damn it, the Groovers.
How about that for some just brutal axe slayings today?
You know what, guys? We talked a lot about murders today. But
We
if we've
did.
learned anything, you're going to get away with it if you use an axe.
I mean, pretty much everybody.
You're going to
literally,
get away with it.
everybody we talked about got away with it except one guy.
And that guy, he lives in Australia. No death penalty for that guy.
Yeah, everybody else literally got away with it. A guy got caught and he got away with it.
He should
Okay,
be internationally broadcasted torture the rest of his life.
I'd be okay.
The
with
guy
that.
from my story.
That's reasonable.
But the other guys, hey, good for them. They got away.
yeah, I mean,
I guess.
yeah, good for them is
No, there's no in between. You have to be very happy for them,
You got to
or
be
you,
proud.
you have to wish for their suffering for the rest of their days.
You gotta be absolutely proud of these fucks. But yeah, that is the Hinterkaifeck, as well as the what was it, the Mary Russell,
Yeah.
the
green-
child annihilator, or not the child
No,
annihilator,
the servant girl annihilator and the
and then the child annihilator, pretty much.
yeah the Greeno or Greeno or
Yeah.
Greeno sounds like a wine, but no, yeah. So that was a bunch of murders with axes, huh?
Yeah, how about
How
that?
about that?
A little
for
bit
your
back to
fucking
form
ears.
for us, just a little bit.
Yeah, and honestly, every single one of the stories was more wholesome than the fucking Nazi one we did the other day. So
Honestly, yeah.
I feel like we're on a good track.
Yeah, we're trending upwards as far as positivity goes,
Yeah, we didn't even mention the RVW thing.
Oh yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. See, talk about axe murders, you forget all your other problems.
Yeah, it's like,
know?
there's some bad shit, but you know what? Fucking,
At least I'm not in Greeno.
yeah, we're living in some weird times, but at least we're not in Greeno.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
tell
not
you
a
that.
servant girl being annihilated. No.
No, I'm not. That's not my MO.
No.
It's not even close to what my MO is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's effectively our episode for the
I
day.
think it probably is. I think if you the listeners that pay attention, and have heard us before, Mitch wasn't here. We didn't mention the fact that he was in the room.
No, he wasn't here today. He's doing some family
He's
stuff
out
today.
committing
He's
axe
gone.
murders. Yeah.
He could be. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know his life outside of when he's in this room with us.
His exact thing was I texted him when I got off work. I was like, hey, we hanging out today? And he's like, can't. I have a suicide appointment. And I was
Wow.
can you reschedule? And he was like, no, I got to go do something.
Absolutely not.
He's doing some family stuff. He was like, nah, I can't. I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
So he's not having a suicide appointment. That's fine.
So for the third episode in a row, we're going to have to do bananas for him.
We are. That's weird.
right.
I don't like it.
But before that, you can follow us on all the shit because we are starting a cult that's great. I'm Jake.
That's
all right?
so true.
I know.
You know that? That's so
I
true.
like to spit truths sometimes.
I love the truths.
Yeah. Well, you can follow us on all the shit. It's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we have an email. It's startacult@gmail.com. You can send us all the words you want to say. And also, maybe there's a TikTok. There is, in fact. And it is Wasek_pod. There's also a YouTube channel with all our episodes on there. And go comment, like, and subscribe, and all that stuff. And there's a link below for the Patreon, where we do bi-monthly episodes. And they're always fun. Little romps with me and Grant here.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all. If you like the episodes without Mitch, even though he doesn't really get involved, we always record those just the two of us. But if you're like a good person, you'll like anything we say.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, holding you hostage here with my words.
Listen to us.
And you can't respond. I'm recording this. And it's going to be in the past by the time you hear it.
That's true. We'll forget everything we just said.
I've already forgotten.
I hate to admit it, but I have to. If some of the things that were said, I don't remember.
Yeah. Sometimes we present ideas for episodes. I'm like, have we done that?
Yeah, and we're like,
And sometimes we have.
So, and what's even funnier is sometimes we don't notice that until we're like reading about it. We're like, I know a little too much about this.
Yeah, they're like, why do I know what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, I'm like, all right, no.
And then it's Thursday, and I text you at like 10:30 at night. I'm like, Grant.
No, we did this. Like, yeah, we did,
may have
didn't
fucked
we?
up.
That's all right. It happens though.
It happens. Everyone makes mistakes. Axes.
Love you.
Yeah, love you guys. Goodbye. Bananas.